Shalom. This is giving all praises to Yahweh Hashem, Hashai, Hashem, Rakakudah, Shalom to the 144,000 rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. This is a vocab. This is a response to a video that short that Vocab Malone put up. And it says bomb drops on Hebrew Israelism. John 3:16 contradicts Hebrew Israelism. Hashtag One West. So when he puts in One West, as you know, if you don't know, it's talking about the various break off groups from One West. Give you like IUIC, ISBK, GMS. Sakari came out of GMS. Genesis came out of Sakari, they were a part of Sakari, and Sakari came up under GMS. So you can say that Sakari and Genesis are also One West because they teach a One West. They have a One West way of teaching. Then you got AOC, you got Lions of Israel, you got HODC, and so forth and so on. So a lot of these other groups that you see popping up, they watched either GMS, ISUPK, IUIC, Sakari. They might have joined the camps, left, or just set up their own thing. Now, if they're teaching the gospel the right way 100%, then they're good. Pursuant to, I believe that's Mark 9, verse 38, 39. You can read it. But anyway, so let me just let this play. Fair use, fair use, fair use. So this here is Vocab Malone trying to equip Christians to deal with the Israelites. You come across the wrong Israelite, you're gonna walk down the street with your proverbial tail between your legs. So let me just play it, and then we'll go into some scriptures and the importance of going into the root words. That's why you have blue letter. Old Testament, for the most part, if you want to get a better understanding of a particular word in the Old Testament, you go to the Hebrew. Book of Daniel, go to Aramaic, which is a form of Hebrew. Or you go to the New Testament, which is, for the most part, Greek. So this is why we deal with the blue letter. So let me let it play, and then we're going to go into the blue letter.
Learn the good news about Jesus Christ. And then that way when we hear things...
First of all, that's not his name, Jesus Christ. No one ever called him Jesus Christ. If you call him Jesus, if God hopped into a time machine and you say, oh, Jesus Christ, you're going to keep walking. Because there was no J in the Hebrew. Neither was there V.
That go against the gospel of Jesus Christ, we recognize...
I'm going to go into the gospel. What is the gospel? That's in Luke 4. The gospel is our Lord and Savior coming to deliver us, which is a good... Gospel means good tidings, good news. The good news that he gave to Israel started in Israel, in Nazareth, which were the Israelites dwelling there. He told them that he's going to deliver them from the enemy, which happened to be the Romans. He was talking about the Romans. So he became an enemy to Rome. He became an enemy to Rome because he was talking about a revolution. That's why the apostles got put to death, because they were charged and found guilty of, you can say, treason. What's the other word? Not insurrection, but what's the other word? I always use that word. Damn, I can't think of the word. That's a damn shame. But it means when somebody help me out. It means when you speak against the government and it stirs up people to go riot and try to take down the existing government. Sedition. That's the word. Sedition. And we'll look up the words. So sedition doesn't mean you go out and burn things down. Sedition means one who stirs the people up to bring down a government. Let's go into the word sedition. Sedition, meaning.
Here's the definition of sedition: conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch.
It doesn't mean to rebel against the authority or state of rulership. It means to conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarchy, government, ruling class, right? Let me do this. Sedition in the Roman Empire. In the Roman Empire, sedition, Latin, seditio, referred to the crime of inciting rebellion. In other words, you incite it. You speech. You bring up, we're gonna take this motherfucker down. People go, and then you say, well, I didn't do nothing. Yeah, but you are not guilty of riot. You are guilty of causing a riot through your words. Rebellion or disaffection against the government or the emperor. The emperor. When they said that the Messiah is going to come, there's going to be a new kingdom, they took it as a threat of war. That this guy is going to come from the mountains with an army and he's going to destroy. That's what they took. They didn't take it as this is a spiritual takeover. It encompassed actions and words that promote public disorder and unrest, potentially leading to military mutiny or civilian unrest. Now, on a ship, the law of the high seas, which is now on the earth, on the land, you have a mutiny where you have certain of the crew members, they don't like what the captain's doing, so they take over the ship, and that's death. They feature that in the movie The Bounty. They have made 3 movies on that, under various different names, but the last movie was what's this guy, Anthony Hopkins, and the racist ass Mel Gibson, inside joke. Anthony Hopkins played, I believe it was Captain Blythe. I think it was Captain Blythe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do the research. I'm not going to look for it. But the racist ass Mel Gibson, inside joke. He played Fletcher Christian, and he was like third in line, and then became second in line under the captain. And he's putting a lot of pressure on him, and he caused because a lot of these ship goers that went to places, they were prisoners that said, okay, if you go on this ship, some of you are not going to make it, but when you come back, we're gonna free you. That's just the end of your sentence. So they said, yeah. So you had a lot of criminals on these ships, because a lot of average people said, no, I ain't going. I ain't going over there. We might die, you know. Anyway, Fletcher Christian, he led a rebellion against the captain of the ship. And in the movie, they had a good movie. All three movies were good. There was the first one was starring Clark Gable. Second one was starring as Fletcher Christian was Marlon Brando. And the third and last was the I think it's called the mutiny or the bounty, you know. Because they fell in love with them Hawaiian women. They fell in love with them. Them women are beautiful. Them Japhetic women are fine as hell, man. We're gonna have them too in the kingdom. The term originated in the Roman Republic. So that term sedition, which is Latin seditio. I might even go to the root word. The term originated in the Roman Republic, Roman Empire, where it. Oh, this is I'm going into history. So guess what? This is History Saturdays, y'all, where it referred to disobedience toward a magistrate, a judge, a governor, and its meaning evolved over time to include actions deemed detrimental to the empire's stability. So the apostles were put to death because they came against ultimately the Roman Empire. Because it was the Roman authorities that put Peter to death, Paul to death, and the rest of the apostles. John was on the Isle of Patmos. The Most High put the spirit on the Romans not to kill him, because the Most High had to use this last apostle, lone apostle, to give him the book that we now know is the book of Revelation, which no Christian, not one Christian can break it down. Not one. Matter of fact, you Christians you don't know shit about the prophecies. That's a series right there. Christians don't know shit-ish about the prophecies. So sedition actually goes back to the Latin, and the term originated in the Roman Republic. You know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Let me go to the root word. Thought I was going to make this short, but it's going to be somewhat of a long video. Etymology online. Etymology online. Okay. The hell? Paste. Sedition. Mid-14th circa. Sedition, rebellion, uprising, revolt. Factitious, commotion in the state. Converted attempt to overthrow civil authority. Violent strife between factions, civil or religious disorder, riots, rebellions against authority. French sedition, modern French sedition, and direct from Latin seditionum, seditionum, nominative, seditio, civil disorder. Civil disorder, it could be by somebody. We're going to do something. We're going to take this mother ever down. The roof is on fire. So they'll arrest you. Well, I didn't throw a stone. I didn't have. I know you're not charged with that. You're charged with sedition, dissension, strife. Literally a going apart. Right. Separation. This is from sad, without, part, aside, tio, going. Right, going aside. So that's all I need. So when Yahushua and the apostles said that there's a new kingdom coming, the Roman authorities, they said that they're going to come with an army and they're going to kill us and put us in slavery. That's how they looked at it. So let me come on back over here. Where am I? Okay, let's listen to this again. So in John 3:16, the world is referring to the Israelites, starting with the elect, which he may call the church. He says the church is going to be, yes, the church are the Israelites. They're known as a church. In Acts 7, I believe if it's not the 43rd verse, it's around the 43rd verse. It says the church that was in the wilderness, which goes back to in the time of Moses. So these were the church. The Israelites would be considered the church, starting with the elect.
For a Christian to do is to learn the good news about Jesus Christ. And then that way, when we hear things that go against the gospel of Jesus Christ, we recognize them.
It's not the good news about the Messiah, the Christ. It's the good news that the Messiah gave to the people when he read out of the Torah. He was the one to give the good news. And he told his apostles, disciples who became apostles, you spread the good news. Why do you think Paul said what he said in 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3 on down? He said which is going to be revealed, which is already in power, merely paraphrasing.
And realize they are bad. For example, the Bible says in John 3:16, God so loved the world that he sent his only son. The Hebrew Israelites say Jesus only came for people with certain skin colors. So the gospel will help us see that's wrong. First,
well, then we shouldn't listen to the Messiah because he's speaking out of both sides of his mouth. When he gave the commission in Matthew 10, he said, let's go to that. Okay, Matthew 10. This is why we don't deal with Christians, because it's like talking to a crazy person. The 12 disciples' instructions for service, which is also found in Mark 3 and 13, Luke 6 and 12. It says, and he goeth into the mountain. Matter of fact, let me do this. So you can read that. So so it says the headline is the 12 disciples' instructions for service. This is what you got to do now. So why at the end of Matthew 28, he's going to say, oh, go to all the nations now. But wait a minute. You said go to the Israelites. Which is it? Well, if you understand the scriptures, you would understand that Matthew 28, when he says go into all nations, is talking about Israelites scattered in all nations. Scattered among the Gentiles, right? So he mentions their name, right? Let me see. And when he had called unto his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sicknesses and all manner of disease. Now the names of the 12, now they mention the 12. They mention the 12. Two of them was his biological brother, because our Lord was a biological son of Joseph. Now it says here Simon the Canaanite, right? Well, wait a minute, that's an African. Nope. That's why you got to go see. Oh, this is something that you can ask a good question to ask if you happen to run into member of the IUIC, say, oh, the Lord only came for Israel, then what does it mean by Simon the Canaanite? The only way you can understand this, you would have to go into the root of the word Canaanite. So was one of the disciples actually a Canaanite, another nation? No. Okay, let me look at this. Okay. These 12, Yahushua, and the word is Yahushua, sent forth and commanded them. If you're a Hebrew Israelite, you call on Jesus the Christ, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is not dealing with you. You come in that spirit of the wicked scribes and Pharisees. These 12, Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's what he said, Vocab. See, these one Westers that say, just go to Israel. Well, this matter of fact, you know what? Let me do this. Let me hit the red letter. That's in red. That's in red. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. This is the Lord speaking. And as ye go, among who? Preach, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So now, let me do this. Let me go to the NLT. Yahushua sent out the 12 apostles with these instructions. Don't go to the Gentiles or the... Ooh! This, hey, NLT is more direct. Yahushua sent out the 12 apostles with these instructions. Do not go to the Gentiles or the Samaritans, but only to the people of Israel, God's lost sheep. Go and announce to who? The Israelites. To them that the kingdom of heaven is near. So who is this addressed to? The Israelites. Let's go to Romans 10. Oh, they don't like it when you go to Romans 9. I'm sorry, Romans 10. Yeah, Romans 10. My brother, my heart's desire and prayer to the Most High for Israel is that they might be saved. Well, what about the other nations? And isn't Paul the apostle of the Gentiles? Therefore he magnified his office. He said that in Romans chapter 11, the next chapter over. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. For they, being ignorant of the Most High's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of the Most High. For the Messiah is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that believeth. Now, that's another lesson. See, we don't got to keep the law. Okay, I want you Christians to start. All the women dress up like men. All the men dress up like women. Have I got a question. This is for vocab. If you have a sister and you're having sex with your sister, are you going to burn in hell? Can you still be accepted by Jesus if you're having a sexual orgies with your sisters? For that case, your mother. You popping your mother. You're in protection, but you call on Jesus. Can you be saved? They're going to say no, and I'm going to say explain why. Well, by nature, that's... Christians are easy, man. And see, you got to cut the head off the snake. You don't play with a snake. You cut the head off. Vocab Malone's proverbial head got to be cut off. He's wounded. He hurts. That's why you think he put so many videos up on Israel. We laughing at him now. He's a joke. He's an ongoing joke. So here it is again. This is what Paul said. The apostle of the Gentiles. He said this is for Israel, bro. So stop it. So now let's go to John 3:16. See, you're not dealing with John 3:16. If you go to the DMV and you get the study book to take the written test, and it says, when you see a stop sign and show you a picture stop sign, stop. 2 chapters down, when you see a stop sign, go through the stop sign. When you see the traffic light, if it's red, you can go through it. If it's green, stop. Then another part, 3 chapters down, it says if you see the 3 lights, if it's green, go, and if it's red, stop. You're going to say, this is confusing. And if people follow that, there'll be accidents all over the goddamn place. So the DMV study guide is talking out of 2 pages, let's say. Whoever put this together is not playing with a full deck. So wait a minute. The Lord said, just go to the Israelites. Then he said, oh, go to everybody now. What's wrong with this guy? He just told us, just deal with Israel. Now he's saying, go to everybody? No. Matthew 28, verse 19, go to all nations because Israelites are scattered among all the nations. But the main place you're supposed to be teaching, your focus is here in America. You got these clowns from the IUIC, Idiots United in Confusion, talking about, and I hope that acronym, becomes viral. Idiot just means you don't know. You're keeping the Sabbath Friday sundown, Saturday sundown. You claim you're an Israelite. You're an idiot. Idiots United in Confusion. All you got to do is ask the IUIC, roll up on them. You guys say, you got to tell us to keep the laws where your fringes at. My question would be this. What day does the Sabbath come in? They're going to say Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. Prove it. Don't say nothing. Prove it. They'll bring you all kinds of, nope, that didn't say Fridays. That didn't say, NLT, it said Friday. Yeah, because the NLT went off. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? NLT is a new living translation, right? But anyway, so let's go to John 3:16 now. I'm going to show you how IUIC breaks it down, and I'm going to show you the right way to break it down. It's called, the term is Occam's razor. Let's look up Occam's razor. Okay, I don't need this. Okay. Occam's razor, meaning. Occam's razor.
Here's the definition of Occam's razor. The principle, attributed to William of Occam, that in explaining a thing no more assumptions should be made than are necessary. The principle is often invoked to defend reductionism or nominalism.
Good. Let's go to the dictionary. The principle that explaining a thing no more assumptions, right, assume things should be made than are necessary. The principles is often invoked to defend reductionism, to, cut off the fat. Nominalism. Let's go to the F of Merriam-Webster. F of Merriam-Webster. That's from a movie. If you can tell me what movie that's from and who said it, you good. You ain't gonna get it. You ain't gonna get it. It says it was a female that said it. in a particular movie. It said the meaning Occam's razor is a scientific and philosophical rule that entities should not be multiplied unnecessary, which is, I don't like the definition. My definition would be the simplest explanation is normally the right one. Britannica. Occam's razor is a principle of theory, construction, or evolution according to which other things equal explanation that possess fewer entities. In other words, don't give me a whole lot of extra stuff. A woman gets killed. The doorknob on the house is the fingerprints of the husband. Well, his explanation is, I lived there. That's my wife. We live together. Of course, So that's very easy. So simply, in simple terms, it means the easiest explanation is normally the correct one. So you got let me come over here. You got the IUIC, is Idiots Unite in Confusion. It says so if you hit them with that, you know what they're gonna do? I believe they go to Isaiah 45, if I'm not mistaken. It says, for the God, I'll just say it verbatim. So loved the world. Gotta look up that word world, that he gave his only begotten Son. That the angel said he's going to come for his people. Our Lord said of his own mouth, don't go to the Gentiles, but go to the Israelites and teach them about the kingdom of heaven. That whosoever believeth in him among the world, cosmos, should not perish but have everlasting life. Okay, so this is what let me go to Isaiah 45. I believe it's Isaiah 45. Give me a second. All right. But Israel shall be saved. This is what the IUIC goes to. They'll go, but Israel, which is the wrong precept. But Israel shall be saved in Yahweh with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. So this word world is not the Hebrew equivalent of the Greek word the word world in John 3:16. So this is the wrong scripture to go to. And even Vocab said that, which is correct. So let's look up the word world. If I'm not mistaken, the word is Iwalam. 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 The Greek equivalent of the word Iwalam is an age, a time period. So we're dealing with time. Everlasting. Right, when it says world without end, it's talking about a time period that our kingdom to come will never be taken down. So where's Nate coming off with 1,000 years in the kingdom? You're going to have the Gogites. They're going to be in a pit in the Caucasus Mountains, and that's in Isaiah 24. This guy's just making shit up as he goes along. You got to study. You can't do that no more. That's a topic right there. You can't do that no more. Just make shit up. You better get your paperwork right, because you're gonna look like a damn fool. You're gonna be laughed to scorn, like we laugh at you, man. Like you're gonna be not just Bishop Nate, but all of them, Captain Zariak, General, all of them. When that mark of the beast, which we've been teaching it for the record, so don't let them say, oh, if you listen to me closely, morons, I did say you're gonna get a mark of the beast. Oh yeah, where? And don't say we got the receipts, man, of you saying what you had the various 10 different times, 10 different ways you broke down the mark of the beast. You're gonna look like a fool. And if there's elect among your people, and I believe there are, my personal belief, they're gonna come up out of her. Okay? Just getting warmed up. Just getting warmed up. So, and like James Toney said when he was fighting, what's this guy, the Russian guy, and this guy Freddie Roach was telling him how to fight. He said, warming up, warming up, warming up. And that's what we do. We just warming up. I'm warming up for later in the day. Okay? Okay, so now, the Greek equivalent to I will meaning the time period of time, is the word world in the Greek, Matthew 24:3, the end of the world. That word is in the Greek eon. Eon is a time period. It's a time, like they say, who I forget who actually said it. If you ask a question, what's the average time period of rulership for an empire? And they'll tell you it's 250 years. How old is the American Empire? Right now, it's 1 year shy of, matter of fact, it's June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. 7 months from now, it will be 250 years. 250 years. Right now, the U.S. is 249 years. When you look up the average time period of an empire, they say it's 250 years. So you got 1 year left, according to that. See? And we know this man's going down. Like Elazar said, we can go 1,000 years. And we jumped on him. What else could we do? Act like we didn't see it? I said, where the hell? And he got mad. He got mad. But he shouldn't got mad. He should have said I was wrong in saying that. Because the Most High is not going to send, anytime the Most High sends the prophets, like in the Babylonian Empire during that time period, there were a bunch of prophets that were there at the same time. You can look that up if you don't believe me. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, all those different prophets knew each other. In certain times, you have one prophet or two prophets, but during the time of the Babylonian Empire, you had them prophets all together. So the same thing now. All the prophets are here. Ain't going to be no more. Your sons is not going to be prophets. Okay, I'm a prophet. My son got to be my son. No. When the Most High sends the prophets, that means this motherfucker going down. When Moses came on the scene, which the Egyptians knew of a deliverer, when Moses came on the scene, that was countdown to this man's, to the so-called Mizraim, Egypt being taken down, the Pharaoh being taken, and they knew it. They knew it. That's why they put the order out to kill the boy babies. Same thing what Herod the Great did with the Messiah. Killed all the boy babies 2-year-olds and under. It says all the babies, but it meant to say boy babies. They didn't kill the girls because they knew the deliverer is going to come as a man. Okay, so where we at? We a little all over the place. So IULM, that's the wrong precept to go to. IUIC. All you had to do, let's come on back. All you had to do is go, so let's open this up. You ask a Christian, what does the word, do you know that the New Testament, the King James that we have is based upon the Greek written in the English and so forth, different translations. But it's from the New Testament, from the Greek. Not meaning that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John spoke Greek. They spoke Hebrew, and it was translated from the Hebrew into the Greek. Just like the Septuagint, which is the law in the Old Testament, translated from the Hebrew to the Greek, not for Edomite Greeks, but for Israelites that only spoke Greek. Just no different than King James. Stammering lips in another tongue. Okay, so now world, right? Cosmos. Cosmos. What does cosmos mean? It means a certain segment of something. I'm going to go into the root too. An apt or harmonious arrangement or constitution, order, government. Right. You have New York government, you got New Jersey government, you got Connecticut government, which is known as the tri-state. You got the Pennsylvania, they have a government. You got D.C. is a city-state, which they have a government body. They have a mayor. They don't have a governor because it's a city-state. You go out to Wyoming. You go out to Colorado. You go out to Las Vegas. A police officer that's on vacation in Las Vegas, he's from LA, he can't pull over nobody for going through a red light because he has no jurisdiction, because he's part of one cosmos. And an apt and harmonious arrangement. When you get flowers together, you want the flower dealer, you want the customer to keep coming. So if there's some bad roses, you throw them out. You're picking out the best roses for that person. You want them to keep, oh, this is a beautiful arrangement. So where does the guy take it from? He has a bed of roses that could be 1,000 roses, right? And he's going to make a bouquet of, 20, because women like, all these roses. 20 roses, 15 roses, right? But he gets the best, and he discards the rest, right? So what does that mean? It's an arrangement. What is the arrangement? He took from the nations and from the Gentiles and put together this nation. That's all it means. I don't got to read anymore. This is off the circle of the earth. No. The world, the universe. No, it doesn't mean that. Ornament, decoration, adornment, the arrangement of the stars. You got star constellations. The heavenly host as an ornament of the heavens. The inhabitants of the whole earth, men, the human. Nope, it's not talking about that. The ungodly multitude, the whole mess of man alienated from God. Right, that's another word. You got the world of the wicked, the righteous, the wicked, and the sons of men. Esau is part of their own world. No, it doesn't mean world affairs. You're going off. The whole circle of the earth. No, you go off. The Gentiles as contrasted to the Jews. It can mean that. Any aggregate or general collection of particulars of any sort. In other words, you taking this from here, that from there, and you putting it together. So this is not hard vocab. So that's all the IUIC had to do. Let's go into this brute. The care provide for take up, carry away in order. Well, I don't like this.
Thing for a Christian to do is to learn the good news about Jesus Christ. And then that way, when we hear things that go...
The good news. Let's go to the good news and I'm going to close. Luke 4. Bear me for a minute. And Yahweh shall return in the power of the Spirit of Galilee, and there went he out of fame of him through all the region round about, and he taught in their synagogue, being glorified of all. And he came to Nazareth. I'm going right to the point. Went into the synagogue or the temple, and as there was and he did it on the Sabbath. I believe it mentions the Sabbath. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah, which was happened to be Isaiah 61. And when he had opened the book, he found a place where it was written, the Spirit, this is Isaiah 61, the Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel, the good news, glad tidings. In Isaiah it says glad tidings. To the poor, these are the Israelites. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, these are Israelites, to preach deliverance, salvation to the captives. So wait a minute. How in the hell are you going to come to the Romans when they put us in captivity? We're captives. And recovering of sight of the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised. Who bruised us? The Romans. That's in Revelation chapter 12. The beast, the dragon with the tail. So anyway, that's it. On to the next. Shalom.